Welcome to Uccello's 4 Days Media Luncheon. Our players are defensive lineman Isiah Dunning and defensive end Matt Judon, along with head coach Matt Mitchell. This will be Grand Valley State's 5th ranked opponent that we've played this year at the time of which we played them, and it is Beat Cancer Awareness Week. So, Coach, if you can talk about the Findlay win, and then we'll move on to Ashland University. Thanks.
Sure. Wanted to get off to a fast start. And we did that. We'd struggled with that a little bit on the road. So we won the toss, chose to take the ball. Second play is from scrimmage, did a good job blocking up a play. And, you know, Chris Robinson rips the touchdown run, and you really felt the emotion on the sideline from our players. Get good kickoff coverage, force a 3 and out, get a great punt return, and, you know, one play into that drive, we hit a touchdown, you know, pass to Jamie Potts, Heath did. So up 14-0 early on in the game. Findlay's a good football team. They have some really good athletes on both sides of the ball, and neither were going to quit, and really came after us, you know, the rest of the first half. So defensively in the first half, we hurt ourselves with some poor execution on some calls, whether we didn't have our eyes in the right spot or weren't executing the call properly. You know, it hurt us. I would say, though, that we did a good job of holding them to some field goals. You know, on a couple of drives, they faked a field goal on us for a touchdown, but we were able to not give up the big play, and I think that was probably a critical thing in the first half. So our defense was under duress. Some of it was self-inflicted. Some of it was Verlon Reed, his athleticism and what he could do, and you know, they ran a little bit more quarterback runs than maybe we anticipated and had to make some adjustments on that. So luckily, while we were struggling to find a way a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, our offense was staying extremely productive, mixing up both the run and the pass. You know, we were able to control the line of scrimmage more so probably than we had in some previous games against good opponents, and we're able to keep the thing going. So gave up the touchdown really at the end of the half to keep it a 1-score game, and you head in the locker room, you know, up by 6, and it had gone through a lot in that game. You know, gave up kickoff return for a touchdown. They ran trick play, which set up one of their touchdowns, fake field goal. You know, we threw a pick. There's just a lot of swings back and forth. Some really good football by us and some really bad football by us, and kind of had weathered that storm in the first half. We got in there at halftime and defensively, you know, made some adjustments, but wasn't anything, you know, a couple calls here and there, but more than anything else, just about, you know, our eye control, our discipline about where we were supposed to be, and went out and played a very strong second half defensively. When really our team needed it. You know, we gave up, you know, the 1 touchdown drive, but other than that, we held them to nothing, forced a turnover, and put on the field in some situations where they went for it on 4th down, and when you have to defend 10 yards, 4 downs, not 3 downs, it makes a difference, and just kept plugging away. So offensively, you know, had some opportunities there in the second half to probably extend the lead more than what we had. It just always was hanging around a 1 or 2 score game, and I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't extend the lead more in the second half offensively, and almost had a critical error on the fumble to give them possession with the ball back down by 6, but found a way to get another defensive stop. So a little bit of the tale of two halves. Didn't play very good offensively in the second half, played well defensively, and vice versa in the first half. And we had 3 of our 4 units really on the special teams play well, and 1 really letting us down at this point in time. So still work to be done. You know, again, we don't talk a ton up here about individual awards, but at the same time, when you break a school rushing record for a single game performance like Chris Robinson, I think that's worth mentioning. You know, I thought he was running extremely hard. That's why we kept giving him the ball. But you got to give some credit to some of our, you know, guys that got the job done for him up front. And everybody's, you know, rushing records. You got to reference the offensive line and tight ends. You also need to reference our wide receivers. Very competitive. Played extremely hard. You know, you got guys like Jamie Potts who gets the touchdown catches. We're blocking for him hard, and Keontre Miskell had some catches. But a guy like Brandon Bean, who doesn't get a ton of mention, did a phenomenal job of frustrating a lot of their defenders in the back end, which led to some of those bigger runs that Chris had. So given where he's been through a little bit with his background and the ACL and some of the things that happened, and being a senior, and some of the, you know, the frustrations that we've endured throughout the course of the season, was happy for him on a personal basis that he was able, you know, kind of get that award. But as I mentioned before in my earlier comments, we didn't play as well as this Grand Valley defense needs to play, and I think we were pretty clear about that yesterday with our team, and got to get better on that side of the ball and play back to the style of play that we had earlier in the season. So I felt like our offense is trending up, getting better. Defensively, we haven't played to our potential. The first half of the last 2 weeks, and that's got to get fixed. Ashland coming in, there's top 25 team. They have 1 loss. They're looking the playoffs square in the face. They got 2 games left due to the nature of our league schedule. They got a bye the last week of the season, so they got game at Grand Valley and got a game at Michigan Tech. They've got 2 big contests in front of them. It's a big game for us. Again, for our program, this is a ranked team and we have not fared well against some of those teams early in the season. And so it's a big game, extremely big game for the players in our program and for our program in general. They're a balanced football team, as I mentioned, some other things I've done earlier, both offensively and defensively. It's not like one side is substantially better than the other. They're also a balanced football team offensively. They run the ball. Our quarterback threw 5 touchdown passes last year. It's going to be a very physical game, similar to our last home game against Wayne State. It's going to be extremely physical. They're a physical ball club, and they like to establish a run. A lot of things off the passing game or come off that run. So we got to do a better job up front, stopping the run, which hurt us up at Michigan Tech, 2 weeks ago, and just do a better job controlling the line of scrimmage. So glad to be back home. We've had some road travels here the past couple weeks, and get back home for this home contest would be great. It's Laker Blue Night. I know we're trying to do some things to support the American Cancer Society, and we're in blue, and so I encourage anybody that comes out. It should be a great October evening for really some smash mouth GLIAC football against a ranked opponent, and that's what we need. That's what we need right now in our program, is to get to a point where we can make one more play. I think this is going to be a type of game. It's going to go 4 quarters, and we got to make one more play than Ashland does. That's a mindset that we have to have, and looking forward to our week of preparation with these guys and get back after it. It's always easier to coach. It's easier to coach harder. It's easier for the players to have a sense of urgency after a win, and I think that was our approach yesterday and will be our approach the entire week. Questions?
Yeah, Coach, up front and in the running game, and I know you talked about the receivers and tight ends too, but how were you guys able to reestablish yourselves against Findlay over the weekend?
Combination of factors. The first factor is that we're getting better with some younger players. We went with Dan DeLuca at tackle, started him, and he played better. He's still not, there. It's work in progress, but has gotten better. Brian Moran at the tight end position is playing better. He's a redshirt freshman. Is playing better. Peyton McCallum was injured all last year, and the first half we were able to run the ball with him at guard. He was playing better. And we'd had some snapping issues with Brandon Revenberg the past couple weeks and in practice, and he had, I think, lost his way a little bit as an offensive lineman because he was concerned with some of the snaps. He got back on track. We really didn't have any snap issues. We had one snap that was a little low, but we snapped the ball much better, and that allowed him to be more relentless in running the ball. And Jim Walsh continues to play well, and Eric Cox, his first-year starter, is getting better. He's still got some snaps out there that are bad, but he's continuing to progress and improve that way. So I think that has something to do with it. I mentioned in the press conference, I thought their 2 defensive ends were good. I think the 2 inside guys were the weakness of their defense, and we went at those guys. We ran the ball between the tackles. If you were at the game, I mean, there was a few perimeter runs. Most of the thing we did was squarely between the tackles. And then our wideouts. I mean, they came out with some new coverages. I thought our wideouts did a good job of maintaining their composure. And they blocked hard. And, as I mentioned before, some guys that did not show up on the stat sheet in terms of reception that really helped Chris get what he was able to get, that end of things. So we struggled to throw the ball on Saturday. I mean, one thing we've been consistent the past 3 weeks, we were able to throw in the 5-step passing game. We struggled, so we need our run game to step up. And I'm hoping that we get a performance Saturday against Ashland where both things are kind of clicking, because it feels like throughout the course of the season we haven't had both things on the same page. So we didn't throw the 5-step pass to our potential on Saturday. We got to be able to do that. So if we can run the ball the way we did and get Heath back there, dropping back to pass, and making plays with Jamie Potts and Keatre Miskell and Camille Jackson and Brandon Bean, and getting these guys, Joe Robbins, involved in the passing game, then you can see the potential what this offense could be, and it's not too late to realize that.
Coach, you had this is the 5th ranked team you're playing at the time you're playing them, obviously. And you've had a lot of games that have gone 4 quarters all season. How are you holding up physically, and has it been trying to go 4 quarters every game?
Yeah, I think that's a struggle that we've been trying to manage as a coaching staff, is that you want your players rested, healthy, feeling good on Saturday, but when you're playing poorly, the best way to get out of that is by practicing, and practicing, hard. And so we've been having to try to walk that fine line a little bit. I think that we'll see if this is a factor or not, but we had great practices offensively Tuesday and Wednesday, and we pulled off them a little bit on Thursday, and that may have been helped us a little bit just in terms of the physical nature. But this conference, top to bottom, is as good as it's ever been. I think that especially the Ohio schools, a lot of respect for what Ohio Dominican's been able to do. Ashland's a good football team. You're seeing some of those other programs. Ashland is ranked in the top 25. Tiffin is 5-3, first time they've had 5 wins in this league since the inception of the program. Lake Erie is 4-4, so it's with our schedule and who we play, it's definitely one of those deals. We have to manage good performances on Saturday based on, like I said, our rest and our potential. So that's something we're definitely working through. I would say the last 2 games, we've come out of the thing pretty healthy, but we're still. Mike Rattay's not coming back. We're going to have Spencer. Some of these seasoned, DJ Hogan, Dev McKissick. I mean, we've got probably 15 to 20 guys that are not playing right now that were done for the season early on, and we're having to manage a lot of this, the roster here the past few weeks. But luckily, we haven't taken a whole lot of hits here the past couple of weeks, and should have pretty much the same crew who played Saturday back out there this Saturday.
Isiah, just as far as taking out Ashland this weekend, what would a win for like the senior class, what would that mean to you guys, taking them down?
It would mean a lot. Obviously, in this situation, you don't want to lose any football game, so winning always feels good, and it would mean a lot for our seniors.
Hey, Matt, I want to talk just about run fits for a while on the defense. You guys have done a good job against a lot of teams, but there's also been some big plays on the run. Have you gone over that and fixed it, and what do you see as far as Ashland in that regard?
Well, we just got to trust in the game plan and trust in our coaches that they're going to put us in a good situation. Then when we're out there, we got to play with great technique. I haven't been able to watch a lot of Ashland film yet, but I'm sure our coaches have, so I'm sure they're going to have a game plan scripted up for us, and we're going to know what they do when they do it.
This is for both players. Anthony Taylor is among the top 10 rushers in the country. Talk a bit about the run games you guys have faced and the running attacks that you've faced throughout the year a little bit.
I feel like we'll be prepared. We've faced good running backs on a weekly basis here in 2014, so I believe we're pretty battle-tested as far as it goes as stopping good running backs with Lake Erie's running back, Azusa Pacific, and Wayne State, and this past weekend the 2 running backs at Findlay.
Coach, this one's for you. Your team seemed to have really good energy last week, especially compared to the week before. There's some character there. You called out their character a little bit. How do you feel they responded, and how do you feel they'll finish out the season?
Well, I don't know if we so much called out their character. They're all good kids. We called out, how ready we were to play the game, and so we talked a lot about competitiveness, Friday night, and we also talked about in the locker room a little bit about somebody's got to, make a play to get the emotion going. It's hard to have emotion when you start a game like Michigan Tech, where you give up a touchdown, you kick the ball out of bounds, you give up a touchdown, and you can't convert on 4th and down. That's going to drain the energy from you. So at the end of the day, like, the energy heading into pregame warm-ups, that's one thing. Once the ball's kicked off, the best way to have energy is make plays. I mean, that's what you got to do. Somebody's got to make some plays in order to have some energy, and we weren't making any plays in Michigan Tech. And at least on Saturday, you get a kickoff return, you score in the second play, you get great kickoff coverage, you get a 3-and-out, you get a kickoff, you get a punt return, you get a touchdown pass. Those are all energy plays. Those are, emotional things where everybody on the sideline's feeling it, and that makes a difference. So, the mental thing, being prepared to play the game, is important. We probably focus on that a lot. I'm not so sure we, got to the point where everybody understands, like, in order to have momentum and energy throughout the course of the game, somebody's got to make a play. So we made more plays at the beginning of the game than we had in some of those other games, and that was probably the biggest difference in our approach and our attitude as the thing was going.
On another note, Chris Robinson has been named GLIAC Offensive Player of the Week, and he is with his 261-yard rushing performance. So, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.